Hello everyone, this is Aoi and welcome to what I hope to be a very instructional Ensemble Stars introductory guide video. I know there are other ones on YouTube that are kind of like this. There are Let's Plays and Let's Tries and things like that, but most of them haven't been updated in quite a while, and the game has changed a bit over the years, so I thought it would be a good idea, with the 4th anniversary kind of rolling around now, with the anime starting in a couple of months, to do an updated guide, both on the game and on events. I will do events in a separate video, mostly because there's not an event running right now, but I wanted to do the introductory guide and do a scout, so you guys kind of get a reward for listening to me talk for the next however long this will take. And if you know me at all, you will know I am very long-winded. I will try my best to be brief, but we'll see how it goes. So normally I start up just from the home screen. This time we're starting up from the title screen, because there are a couple of things on here you should know about when you're starting the game. So the first thing is the yellow button up in the upper left corner, which is the cache clear. In some games I know the cache clear doesn't really do much. It does in OnStars. So basically if you read a whole bunch of stories, looked at a whole bunch of cards, if you clear your cache, it can delete 500 megabytes from the game file. The game itself is really around 200 megabytes. It is not big. Because it's not a rhythm game, it doesn't have to download song data, so it's a good idea to clear your cache every once in a while just to keep the app size down. Because we all know these days with how many apps there are out there, app size and space on phones is a commodity, so it's good to have an app like this, which is very involved but doesn't take up that much space. So we're not going to clear the cache. The other button you should know about is this red one down here, is the data transfer button. Now, you can only change accounts in OnStars once a day, and basically all you do is enter your code that they give you, your password, press enter or press the blue button, and that'll transfer your data. You can transfer between Android and iOS without losing any currency, which is very nice, especially as I normally am on iOS. Buying Gaia on iOS or buying any currency for any Japanese games is quite difficult. It's very easy on Android, so being able to switch between the two operating systems with no drawbacks is excellent, and I am very happy that OnStars allows you to do that. So again, enter it in. If you try to do it more than once a day, it just won't let you, but otherwise it's very easy to do. And OnStars is a very easy password system. I will show you once you get in there, but essentially it gives you a code, you come up with a password, you don't have to re-input it every time you transfer the account, it just stays forever unless you manually go and change your password. So that's that. I think that's everything for the main title screen, so let's go into it.
Ensemble Stars.
Alright, so this is the home screen. At some point he's going to talk to me, I'm just going to talk over him. I apologize. This is Ritsu. I just have him out here because I don't think I've shown off this outfit yet. It was a 4-star I got a while ago. But this is basically he's talking now. I'm just going to let him finish.
何もしないならこのまま寝ててもいいよね.
Okay, so basically if you leave them on the home screen without interacting with them for a while, they'll kind of give you this like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? Why aren't you talking to me kind of speech. So that's what that was. But this is basically the home screen. As you can see, there's not actually a whole lot here. Your news feed takes up a big portion of it, and otherwise everything is fairly self-explanatory if you've played any sort of idle game, any sort of gacha game before. But we'll go through everything very briefly. This is your mailbox. Basically any new in-game notices, scout notices, event notices, campaigns, what have you will show up here. Present box, again, very self-explanatory. There's 3 different tabs. First tab is collect all, or shows you all your presents. Second tab will show you presents that are not refresher items, so things like Dia, which is the currency in this game, things like jewels, which you use to level up your cards or increase the stats of your cards, things like that will show up here. Last tab is items that expire and that you use to either refill your AP or your LP. So these ones you can see the date on the right hand side. This sports streak, for example, you can see will expire on June 7th at 4:56 p.m. So what that means is at that time, it just disappears from your present box. If you collect it before then, it will stay in your kind of temporary inventory until the end of the event period. An event period is basically run from the 1st to the 15th of the month, and then from the 15th to the last day of the month. So those are kind of the general areas. Events only run for 10 days, somewhere in between there, but that's the blocks in terms of how these items stay. So as you can see, I've saved up quite a few of them. Some of them you can see will expire fairly quickly. I don't necessarily use all these items all the time, but they're there, and it's good to not collect everything. So I would recommend, if you're collecting things like Dia, which you do get 1 Dia every day for logging in, and they do have a lot of login bonuses and campaigns. So I would collect everything from the middle column and only collect individual items from this column when you need them. And the yellow button is basically collect all. The white button clears, or doesn't clear them, but it gets you back to the home screen. So next up, the character in the blue circle is a sub-story. And those are basically stories that come with certain gacha cards and certain things, and I'm talking over you this time, Ritsu, I'm sorry. But every day they release a new one, and you can read them for free. So you don't have to have the card, they just give you a chance to read these little character stories. They don't really give you anything, but if you can read Japanese and want to read more of the stories, that's there. The last one on here, this little badge that kind of looks like a green and yellow shield, is essentially not really beginner tasks, but tasks that you can only complete once. So as you can see, this account, which I probably should have said earlier, this is my side account. The reason we're doing this on here is just because I have enough Dia for a scout. They're very good when starting the game because they give you a lot of producer points and a lot of jewels, both of which are in limited commodities, especially as a new account. So most of the tasks on here you can complete just by playing through the game normally and then collecting your rewards once you've completed them. And once you complete all of them, then that little button will disappear. There are also beginner tasks that you get while you're coming into the game. Again, you can probably find a guide for those online. They're fairly self-explanatory. They do give out Dia and stuff, so it's a good idea to complete them as a new player just to kind of build up your resources a little. So moving to the right, we have your character, who is going to keep talking at me, but as I said, I'm just going to talk over him. So you can set whoever you want to be on your home screen, and you can set whatever background you want, provided you have the backgrounds, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So the 3 little dots there are basically for increasing character affection. That's kind of an optional thing. Mostly what it gets you is new voice clips and things like that. So if you're not really interested in hearing the characters say different lines, you don't actually have to do anything with that. And there are also ones that will pop up during the courses. And again, if you're not interested in that, don't want to worry about building up affection for your characters, it doesn't affect the gameplay in any way. It's just kind of a personal thing if you really like a character and want to keep unlocking all of their affection levels. But we'll go through this one just because the dots are there right now, and to give you an idea what it looks like. So you'll usually get something like this. If you fill up a whole heart, then you get the what they call the intimate events, where you have to like touch them, which sounds really awkward. It's not actually like, here we go. So it's not actually that awkward. Basically, there's 3 different areas you can touch them, which is head, arms, and then everything else is just kind of considered body. So like if you tap him on the chest, you can, yeah, you kind of have to rub like that. And then if it's in the right place, they will be happy and give you some sort of reward. So yeah, you can see you're happy. And in that case, it just means that the affection went up, his affection rank went up, so it probably unlocked a new voice line or something like that. So we're back to the home screen now. So the next thing we're going to look at is this little arrow. If you pull the arrow aside, you can put 2 characters on your home screen. And the buttons at the side, the first one is for costume changing, which again we'll look at when we get into the cards. The second one will let you choose which character you have with them on the home screen. And then, the second one will actually let you choose who your main character is. The third one will let you choose who the second character that slides in when you expand the home screen is. And then this little arrow at the top, the first one will flip the screen like that so you can see outfit details if you really want to. And then the second one will get rid of everything else so you can just see your characters. The camera function is kind of like it basically lets you take a picture. So it'll get rid of the background and you can actually use your phone camera or your tablet camera or whatever to take a picture of your surroundings. The characters will still be there, but it'll be whatever your phone is looking at, and you can kind of move them around. So it's fun to play around with. And then, so this other character, if you guys are new to OnStars, this is Ray. He is Ritsu's brother, which is probably why he's up here. But if we do this, say you can pick another character. I'm just going to pick Yuzuru because I put him in an outfit from a 5-star card, so you guys can kind of see what the level of detail is with those outfits. They're usually very nice. So that's that screen. It's mostly for fun. Again, it doesn't really affect the story in any way or the characters in any way. It's just for you to show off your characters in the game. So back to this screen, we'll take a look at everything on the right-hand side now. The first one is just your rank. So that will show you how many points you need to increase your rank, and then the percentage bar shows you, again, kind of how far along you are. Oh, there's new mail. Why is there new mail? Oh, that's for the scout announcement, which we will be doing later. AP is basically what you need to complete courses. LP is what you need to complete event battles while events are going on. Producer points in this game are kind of like friend points in other games. You can use them for scouting, or you can use them to quickly level up cards. It's kind of up to you what you do. We'll get into that more when we get to the scout. Daya obviously is your currency. Jewels will show you all of the jewels that you have, which is actually a really nice feature because I didn't used to have it, and you had to go into the card themselves to find out if you had enough jewels to actually do anything. So this will show you a basic overview. This is your news feed, so if there's scouting campaigns, past events, upcoming events, things like that. So basically, like this event, so if you click on the little speech bubble, you can scroll through everything really easily. Otherwise, you can scroll through like this, but that's kind of... It's not the most user-friendly feature, and they added that about a year ago, and I still don't really like it. So if we go into here, so for instance, this was the last event, so it shows you your event ranking, and this being my side account, I didn't do a whole lot of playing on it, but it will still show you your ranking. You can collect your prizes from here. If you go to, the one for the upcoming event, which is this one, it will show you card previews, and then at the bottom it says, the event will start on the 15th of May at 3 o'clock Japan time. So you will have to convert that to your time zone, but the times are always the same, so once you get used to it, it's very easy to know when events are starting. So you can scroll through the higher rarity card previews, and I won't get too much into events, that'll be a different video, but that's kind of the idea. Other than that, the only real important one of these is this scout. And this is something called a revival scout, which I know they do in other games as well. In OnStars, most revival scouts are tied to album releases. So in this case, what they've done is cards in OnStars are not really limited. The only cards that are limited are ones from album releases and from anniversary gachas, which is basically the outfits that you can see on the home screen. So if you don't get the cards in their respective gachas, you can't get those ones, but all of the regular 4-star, 5-star, 3-star, everything cards go into the main box a couple of months after their gacha initially happens, and they just kind of stay there. Obviously, after 4 years, there are a lot of cards in the main box. So if you're looking to scout for a specific card, these are the gachas you want to scout in. Because basically you can pick any one that one of these 4 characters appears in, and scout it in as many times as you want, the same way you would be able to when the gacha first came out. So this is the last of this album series. I assume there will be more new music coming soon, but basically they always do this for albums, so that's what this is. Heading back out here, the management button was something they added about a year ago, and I love this feature. Because until they did this, if you wanted jewels, you had to grind the daily courses, which gave a chance of dropping jewels. There wasn't even a guarantee, it just might happen. These ones, if you collect your rewards, okay, as I scroll through everything, as you can see, they give you a lot of jewels, and you can run these all the time, basically. They do take AP, but they give you experience back, so they will build up your level meter. And as you can see, you have anything from 30 minutes to 8 hours. You let them run in the background, you collect your rewards, repeat. That's basically it. And you can do them for any character, and some of them will give you management stories, which are just kind of little interactions. Again, they don't really give you anything in terms of rewards, but if you want to see the characters interacting with each other, they're kind of nice to collect. So let's do like a 2-hour one. And they're all different. Some of them, they're exercising or doing kind of chores like this, setting up the stage. Some of them, they're just eating or reading books or studying. So they're kind of cute little things to watch. So as you can see, both of them were the same there. They're both just kind of stacking boxes. But we will collect that. So as you can see, our meter went up, or our experience meters for the rank up. And then we get the jewels. And they also do increase affection levels for the card. So that's another way to do that. So let's give him a different one. Which one should we do? Let's do the 4-hour one. So yeah, you can see he's in the library taking notes and bringing up little question marks. And then this little notepad at the bottom will show you how many courses you've run for each character, and then let you check which of the management stories you've unlocked. And I think that's basically it for that page. So basically, if you want jewels for your collection, which you will need jewels, this is the best way to do it. So let's go back to the home screen. The produce button gets you into the courses. Again, we won't go over that too much. We'll save that for events. Basically, they have courses for every unit, for every class. Daily courses are to get jewels. Again, I don't really use those too much anymore with the management feature. There's not really a need to. But it's good to go through all the courses because you do get Dia. So if you complete all of the trophies, you will get 4 Dia, and then you get an additional one for completing the first of these, the 3 out of 3. Those are kind of the little event stories. So you will get basically 5 Dia per course. So again, as a new player, it's a good way to get Dia. And again, we won't go too much into produce courses or anything. We'll look at courses when the event comes around. So we got produce courses, daily courses, and then event, which is empty right now because there's no event going on. So back out to the home screen. The bottom tabs are, well, I guess first we'll look at one more of these ones, which is this one. Every once in a while they will fully voice stories in the game, which is very nice, and they just added a new one, I think yesterday, which is this Rebirth Live. So then they will kind of give you a page showing you all the stories they have that are fully voiced. So you can watch any of these stories, and basically every line will be fully voiced. And Ensemble Stars has an amazing voice cast, so I would definitely recommend, even if you don't understand Japanese, a lot of these stories are translated on the wiki, so you can read along and listen to the voices. And it does add a lot to the effect of experiencing the story. And Ensemble Stars, if you guys probably know by now, one of the major things that draws people to it is the story and the characters. So back out, if we go to the actual story tab at the bottom here, you can see we've got main story, event story, character stories, stills, which are basically like CGs you get by reading through some of the stories, produce events, which are those little mini stories I talked about before, and then favorites. So if you have a chapter of a story you really like, you can favorite it so you don't have to search for it. The only ones that are super important in terms of resource collecting are event and scout stories. The other ones will just get you producer points. Event and scout stories will get you 1 Dia for every chapter you unlock. So this is the new scout. So basically if you go into story, you can see they're all locked right now. Scout stories can only be unlocked by scouting the cards and then unlocking the story from their idle road. Or you can see at the top I have 63 story keys, which basically you get as part of login bonuses and things like that, which allow you to unlock stories even if you don't have the card or even if you didn't play the event. So essentially that's 63 free Dia. So it's nice to collect those, store them for when you need them, and then read stories or events or scouts that you probably won't ever play in to get the Dia from them. Go back out as it loads up, and then again, event stories, kind of the same thing. If you play the event, you unlock the stories and then you can read them. Ellen Stories has a very intuitive search function for this as well. Because there are so many stories after this many years, you can search just for event, just for scout. You can search for a unit if you know the unit that's involved in the story. You can search by season, or you can search by year. So it narrows it down a little bit if you're looking for a specific story. Alright, so that basically covers the story function. I guess if we go back into there, we can look at the still for a second. So like if you choose a character, it'll say, okay, I have 14% of all of his CGs unlocked, probably because I read these stories. It'll tell you where it's from, you can zoom in on it, so it's a good way to look at the artwork if you want to. Alright, as we go back 5 pages here. Okay, the next one is cards, which I will leave for a little bit later, probably until after we do the scout, just to explain that at the end, and hopefully we'll have some new cards to look at. Unit will let you set up your units for different things. Produce units are the ones that will actually run the courses for you. So the cards you put in the produce units will gain experience and level up, so if you have cards that you want to level up and you don't want to use producer points to do it, putting them in these units is the fastest way. And you can pick different units, for example, if you want to do the daily jewel courses and have on-attribute units or anything like that. You also have unit skills, and basically skills will get you extra points in certain categories. At a certain point you won't really need them if your cards are strong enough, but they do have things like unit skills, club skills. If two characters have a similar relationship or something that's the same, you can put them on the same unit and their skill will activate. Dreamfest is something we'll talk about more when we get into that, but Dreamfest is basically, it's kind of like the PvP, you're not actually battling people in real time, you're just battling other people's teams. And so if you hit the Osusume button, it will pick generally your 5 cards with the overall strongest stats, which is usually good enough for what you need. And then Live is for your event teams, which we will get more into during the events. But as you can see, you need a lot of cards in OnStars to have viable teams. So basically each team consists of 15 cards. Again, you can have skills for everyone, but mostly if you just Osusume it, it'll pick your strongest cards and you can use those for events and they'll get you pretty far. But again, we'll talk about that more in the event video. So those are the units. And now we're finally onto the map. So we'll just kind of go through as I trace my finger in the air and you can't see me, clockwise. That's what we're going to do. First one's the chat rooms. I never use the chat rooms. There is an English chat room, I believe. It's somewhere, yeah, the English room. But I don't really see the use in this, and sometimes people can get a little toxic from what I've seen, so I generally ignore the chat rooms. That is kind of a neat feature to have. The shop, obviously, the Dia shop, if you want to use real money to buy Dia. There is the coin shop, and coins, usually you get them from doing the Dreamfest, which again, we'll talk about a little bit later. You can buy background music from events, you can buy unit songs that you can use to put in the background. Kind of instead of the home screen music playing, it'll play these songs. You can buy certain outfits for characters that weren't available previously. You can buy voice clips, and you can buy backgrounds. Or you can't buy backgrounds, but you can buy alternate backgrounds. So for instance, the main classroom background, since we already have it, you can buy like a sunset version, you can buy a night version. And so if there's a background you really like, but you want a different version of it, like for instance, if we scroll down here, you can see there's a lot of backgrounds in this game. The ones that are locked means that you don't have them unlocked, so you can't buy the alternate versions. They're like these beach ones. So the sunset one looks really nice. So if you had the beach one unlocked and you wanted a sunset beach, you can buy that one. It's all aesthetic, again, it doesn't really get you anything, but one of the things I do like about OnStars is that it's very customizable. You have a lot of things you can change to kind of tailor the game to how you want it to look. And the last one is the medal shop, and medals drop during courses, which again we will talk about during the event video, but they allow you to buy certain cards, basically extra cards that didn't make it into events. Some of these are old promo cards that if you didn't log into the game during the time you wouldn't have gotten, and some of them are just special cards that are in the shop. So the top one is a rainbow key, which is for rainbow blooming cards, which again we will talk about when we get into the actual cards. So that's the shop. If we slide over to the side to this middle one, these are your options. Basically the only one you really need to worry about is the one right above Game Center, which says data and password. So that is how you set your password. If you click on that, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to show my my account code, it will show you your account code. You can set your password, save it. It's good forever, as long as you keep it safe. And you can also link it to Game Center, which I think mine is. So basically when you log in on a different account, you can bring it over, and that way you can get around the moving once a day restriction because it doesn't count as transferring for some reason. It's just switching Game Center accounts. Moving over here, we have the locker, and the locker will show you all of the things that you have. So, for instance, story keys we talked about. Conpeto are LP refreshers, and they expire at the end of the event period. So you can see all the ones I have will expire basically right away. And then when the new event starts, if I would collect any after that, they would expire at the end of the month. These bento boxes are permanent AP refreshers. Like the candy are permanent LP refreshers, and they refresh one each. The jar of like lemon preserves is a full LP refresh, so it will refill all 5 LP. The Sialooms are for doing events. So basically when you play events, you get these battles that pop up randomly. If you use a Sialoom, they will pop up after every turn. So if you're grinding, they are great because you can get a lot of points very quickly. The fancy green key is a background key. So they do sometimes give you keys to unlock backgrounds that you don't have. So I have 2 of those left because I haven't decided what backgrounds I want to unlock yet. But that's what those are. And the last one, the kind of schedule planner, is if you remember the management courses we talked about, if you set that to one of the management courses, there's a better chance you will get a management story. Again, stories don't really give you anything unless you want to read them and find out more about the characters. So that's essentially the locker. Again, any of the event items I'll probably go over in more detail during the event video. This Raibu, the one with the red exclamation point, is if you have a live currently going on, or if you're doing an event, you can get to it quickly from this screen. Otherwise, it doesn't really do anything. The doors with the cards at the bottom are the scout doors, which we'll go into in a little bit. The doors at the very bottom are to look at other schools. And again, there's really only 2 other schools that have 2 students each. And then the very bottom one is for past collab events and things like that. So you can see all the characters that got special cards and OnStars during those events, or during those campaigns. The blue button over here that looks like a passport photo is your class list. So if we look at this, you can basically go through and see all the characters that are in all the classes, and then you'll see most of them have these little bubbles with a number in it. Leo's got a lot, so we'll just click on him, which will take you to his main page. Those are those affection things I talked about before. So basically I've unlocked all these voice clips for him just by using him in management courses or event courses and raising up his affection. And otherwise, this is kind of your main character screen. So the very top bar with their name on will pull up their profile, which is very useful. So it'll give you the voice actor, all of the vital stats about them, voice clip samples. The second page will give you a little bio, likes, dislikes, hobbies, things like that. The last one will show you their unit or their club. So Leo is in the archery club, so those will show you the other members of his club. And he is a knight, so those will show you the other members of his unit. And if you clicked on one of them, you could go to their page right away. The little circular change button in the corner is just to see his, there's his normal student outfit, and there's his unit outfit. So again, kind of a really nice little concise page to get quick character information. The bottom 4 buttons, the one on the very left, will show you all the stories he's in, voice clips. Motion is just kind of this little fun thing where you can choose an outfit as long as you have it unlocked, and then you can scroll between them, watch his little dances. If it is a 5-star card like that Robin Hood Leo, number 5 will show you their little special dance that they do, and that only applies to 5-star cards. And the last one is album, which will show you all of the cards of that character you have, which is very useful because I know a lot of games, I'm thinking of things like Love Live, for example, you can't actually sort by character. They have an album, but you can't actually say, I want to see just the cards of this character. So this will show you all of the Leo cards that I have. The ones that have the little red bar in the corner are ones that are in the album. The ones that don't are still in my main card list. So you can see, how many cards you have, how many you have yet to collect. If you don't have a card, it'll show you a little image of it, so you can kind of see which card it is. And then up here we've got this white button on the right-hand side beside the yellow one is if you want to set that character to your room, that's what you would press. And the one with the outfit on is obviously for changing outfits. So as long as you have the outfit unlocked, which generally you can do through the cards, you can change his outfits. You can see, since this is my side account, I don't have a whole lot unlocked, but these are both from the Robin Hood card. And
この衣装な
the
ら
second
イン
tab
スピレーション
is
が
for
湧いて
changing
き
the
そうだ
background. So again, as long as you have it unlocked, and you can see this one, there are two different versions of it. There's the daytime version, which is standard, and then I bought the nighttime version from the coin shop. And the bottom one is background music. So if you wanted to buy one of those songs from the coin shop, change the background music, it's character specific. So if I picked, like, say, a night song for him, and I switched to a different character, it wouldn't keep that music. It would just go back to the default. So you do have to select everything per character. And I think that basically covers everything on that page. And then the arrows, basically, if you wanted to scroll to another character without going back to the passport pages, you could just do that. But we are going to go back to the passport pages, and we're going to go back out here. So, I've only got a couple things left, and then we'll get into the scout and the card album, which is probably more interesting, but all of this is necessary if you want to unlock the potential of everything in the game. So this pinkish red button here is the Dreamfest. And Dreamfest is, like I said, is kind of the PvP. There are 20 ranks. Once you get to rank 20, that's kind of it. For new players, they are very good for collecting resources. So if you look at this little league button up here, you can see basically every level you rank up, you get a lot of dia, you get story keys, you get the up cards are increased storage in your card album, and you get coins. So I would definitely, even as a new player, if you have a few good cards, you can get to rank 10 very easily. And then it just has to do with picking teams that you think you can beat and then rising up through the ranks. Between every event in the first half of the month, this button that's grayed out will turn red. You can select that, and that's how you get those AP and LP refreshers that don't expire. So if you're ever thinking about ranking in events, it's good to kind of stock up on those so that you have them when you need them. So for instance, right now, I have 2 of these lemon preserve jars. Those are never going to expire. I can use them whenever I want to. And I think that's basically it for the Dreamfest. Like I said, their PvP in this game isn't super intuitive. If you've looked at the Chinese OnStars videos I posted, theirs is a lot more. There are actually cards and things you can get from it. This one is mostly for resources and then just for collecting items when you need them. And so I think we've basically covered everything except for cards and scouting. So we're gonna go into scouting right now. Actually, wait, I lied. There's one more thing. This green clock at the top. Those are revival events. So basically every event that's happened up until about a year prior to whenever you're playing the game, you can play as a revival event. So revival events run for 5 periods in between normal events. So they'll run for 3 days each, so basically there's 5 sessions of 3 days. So you have 15 days to collect whatever you want from the event. If you decide to do the Dreamfest in the first half of the month, that will take priority. Because Dreamfest does use LP, you get 5 free battles per day, and after that you have to use LP. So they won't make you do the revival event and the Dreamfest at the same time, which is nice. So the day counter won't go up in your revival event, it's just like you're not doing it for that period. Otherwise, you can take a look at what cards are available in these events. If you go into the very left-hand white button, it will show you all of the prizes. Obviously, since normal events run for 10 days, revival events run for 15 days, the amount of points you need is scaled up. So I believe 4-star cards in these are at 900,000 points, or 990 instead of 660, and 5 stars are at 1.7 million instead of 1.1 million. It's all about the same, so if you can get them in normal events, there's a good chance you can get them in revival events. The ranking bonus cards, the amount of points you need for them correlates directly to what their border was at the time. So if we look at this Leo, you need 7.6 million points to get him. He was a very high card to rank for. If we go to a different event, for instance, as I scroll back through this, so let's go to a really early event when there weren't that many people playing the game yet. And basically you can unlock all of the first chapter of these stories for free, so if you need more dia, that's another way to get it. So if we look at this, so we go into the rewards, you can see Hokuto is only a 3.8 million points, so basically half of what you would need to get Leo, and that is very doable, even as, you know, a player with semi-good teams. So if you missed a ranking event or there's a ranking card that you really wanted from the past, this is how to get them. And revival events take 15, or they cost 15 dia to do, but you do get all the dia back from reading stories and doing event courses, so you will earn that 15 dia back. So it's really, you usually come out ahead, especially since some stories, especially recently, have up to like 45 stories. You will get a lot of dia back from them. But I think that covers everything, and we're only about half an hour in, which is actually pretty good considering how long it takes me to do things usually. So we're going to do the scout now. So if we go into the scouting page, you can see there's a few different ones. This is the main scout for the event that's going on. It has nothing to do with the event, it just runs at the same time as the event, and the cards from this scout will get you bonus points in the event if you get the 4 and the 5 star. Every scout that comes out like this will have 4 cards in it. We'll have 2 3 stars, 1 4 star, and 1 5 star. The 4 and 5 star cards will get you extra points in the event. All 4 of the cards will have doubled stats. So whatever their base stats are, if you put them on your event teams, they will double if you have 1 copy, and then it stacks if you get multiple copies of them. So for new players, it's a good idea to do these scouts because not only will they get you extra points, they will get you stronger cards just for having them on your teams. The next one is a special scout. It's the Class 3A scout, which I did do a video on from my other account. These are to get the outfits that are on the main screen. These will change weekly until they go through all 6 of the classes, and then I believe the 7th week will be the boys from the other school and the teachers. This one is because Eden, which is the kind of the rival unit, don't have normal gachas, but since their album came out, they do get the special album cards. So this is that gacha, and these are the producer point, or this is the normal dia scout. So basically, you can scout in the main box. Normally you wouldn't do it because you'd be scouting for a specific gacha, but for birthday scouting and things like that, every time one of the characters has a birthday, you get 15 dia as a login bonus. You get 5 dia for completing their birthday course, and that changes. It kind of depends on the year what they're doing for the birthday campaign. And if you scout in their birthday, or on their birthday, 5 of the cards from that scout will be of that character. So if you really want cards of a certain character, that's probably the best way to do it. It does pull from the entire box, so you could get any character, but you know at least half of your scout will be that character. So there's definitely an increased chance of getting their higher rarity cards that way. All of these boxes, you see that little blue text? That shows you that you are only guaranteed a 4 star, which is kind of like the equivalent of, say, like an SR card in other games, on your first scout. The main box will roll over monthly, so the first of every month that guarantee will come back. Every other box it won't, because most of these are limited boxes, but if you do happen to get a scout that is all 3-star cards, the 4-star guarantee will come back. So in that way it's not quite as generous as other games, but I almost kind of like it because it dissuades me from scouting. So I know my first roll I'll get something, the second roll I don't know if I will. That kind of keeps me from spending dia because I don't want to spend dia unless I know I'm getting at least something from it. The last 2 boxes are producer point scouting. This one is for 3 stars. There is a tiny chance you can get a 4-star from this box. It's happened for me a couple of times, but not enough that generally I'd like to scout from here. If you really want to collect 3 stars, go for it. Otherwise, I just use producer points to level up my cards faster, so I can unlock things like outfits and backgrounds and stories and things like that. The last box is kind of the initial producer point scouting. So as you can see, you can do a 10 scout for 1,000 producer points. You will only get 1 and 2-star cards from this. The game, when you get it, comes with a 1-star card of every character, so really it's just for getting the 2-star cards. And 2-star cards eventually will not get you very far. Again, as a beginner, it's kind of up to you if you want to scout in here. Otherwise, I would say definitely either scout in this box or just save your producer points for leveling cards up. Okay, I think we're actually going to get to the scout now. So I was debating scouting in this gacha, just because OnStars has taken a lot of my dia recently, but these are characters from Class 3A, which is one of my favorite classes. You can see previews of the outfits that come with the cards, which is really nice. So we have these two boys, and I believe that's it, yeah. So this is Madara. He is the 5-star. Everyone calls him Mama, so I'm just usually going to call him Mama because it's easier. So that's this is a lovely billiard-themed gacha. And this is Kaoru, who is the 4-star. So either of these would be great. And this is mostly just so you guys can see what a scout looks like in this game. The other buttons at the bottom, the middle one will show you the card previews. So this is the unbloomed version of the card. And then this is Kaoru. And actually, that's really nice. And then there are 2 3-stars, which the scrolling function does not work very well. I think because there are so many cards in the box, it just overloads it. So we're going to go manually. So these are the 3-stars, the top 2. So we have Soma, and then we have Mitsuru. So these ones will get you, as I said, doubled stats. The other ones will get you extra points. We're guaranteed at least 1 4-star. And the nice thing about these boxes is that there is only 1 5-star in here. So the only 5-star is this Madara, which means that if you get a 5-star, it's automatically him. You don't need to worry about rate up. Rate up doesn't really exist. For the 4-stars, the featured 4-star has a 50% rate up, which is very generous, and from what I can tell, is not a lie. But we're just gonna scout, then we'll go over the card page, and then we'll be done. So, no, we're not gonna solo. The first button's the solo button. You can ignore that one unless you really want to solo. In this game, I would definitely recommend doing 10 scouts for the guarantee. Okay, so these doors can give you a hint as to what you're getting. If they are yellow like this, that can mean anything, because cards in this gacha can flip. If the light coming through the door was rainbow colored, that would guarantee you a 5-star. So this can mean anything. We'll see what happens. Okay, that means single 4-star. So if the card is yellow, that is a single 4-star card. Nice, that's a new card, I think. Most of the characters have their initial cards in this gacha, and then they will have something called the Story Scout card, which is also kind of like a secondary initial. So the event gachas will not have all the old gacha cards in, those are only in the main box. But this is still good. He's not from this gacha, but any new cards are nice. And so I'll show you a little preview of the cards you're getting, and then the card itself will come up. I kind of hope one of these flips, just so you can see what that looks like. But if not, the rest of these will all be 3-stars. I just hope I get something from this box. So it doesn't prove me wrong about rate up being a lie. But I feel like it's going to. Yeah, that's not the Soma from this set. Okay, so all in all, that was not a very exciting scout. We didn't actually get anything from the set. Like I said, there was a 50% chance we could get the 4-star. We got a different 4-star, which is okay. The little button at the, or the little bubble at the top shows you how many copies of the cards you have. That one Soma is new, but he wasn't from this set. So if I was scouting in this to do the event, this wouldn't help me that much, but we do get a new card out of it, so that's good. So we'll do this on his card for now, and then I'll show you some of the other ones later. So if you click on the card, either here or in your card album, this is the screen you get. So you can zoom in on the card, the grayed out button is if you've already bloomed the card, you can unbloom it if you want to, depending on what art you like better. The middle button will get you to that character page I talked about before. And then up here, this is your level up button, so if you wanted to use those producer points, that's where you would do it. This is the idle road, which essentially is kind of like a skill tree. So you can unlock based on the level of the card and how many jewels you have. And so you just kind of go through. As you can see, there are stories, so if you unlock the story, then you can read it. And these ones will have a background and a voice clip. Any gacha cards you get, which we will actually go into the card album now. So any cards you get that are from a gacha will have more things. So basically, who should we look at here? I kind of have this sorted by rarity, so these are all my 5-stars. And then we get into the 4-stars. Well, let's just go with this Midori because he's the first one in here. So the idle road you can see is at 38% here. So I haven't unlocked everything, but stories for scout cards or for gacha cards from events will get you Daya. The little outfit will unlock a new outfit, and you saw on the other one what the new background kind of looked like. So that's basically what the Owl Road is. It's just to make your character stronger. This bottom one, this is the Rainbow Road. So those rainbow blooming keys I talked about before, this is what they are for. And they essentially make your card a lot stronger. If you bloom it all the way, the border around the card will turn rainbow colored, and the card itself will change, and you'll get a little signature on it and stuff. I haven't really done that because, as you can see, it takes a lot of jewels to do that. But if you really, really love a certain card and want to make it stronger, this is the way to do it. And then this will show you kind of the skills for the card. And here, you can see the yellow button here. If we go to that one, we'll unbloom him. So that's the unbloomed version. This is the bloomed version. And then the bloomed version will always have, like I said before, a special little dance. So there he goes. This I think was from the New Year set last year for the Year of the Dog. And I'm just gonna bloom him again. There we go. And then the bottom grayed out ones I believe are for the rainbow bloom. If you want to take it back to its normal state, you can do that. And otherwise, there's not a whole lot in the card album. There is a search function so you can sort by rarity, by character, by new, things like that. Album will just take you to the album that we looked at before. This bottom button, as it takes me out and I didn't want it to, this bottom button is for, you can set like your 5 favorite cards and look at them without borders, which again is kind of nice if you want to see the full art. And then this button at the very bottom is for your card album. So you cannot sell cards in Ensemble Stars for a number of reasons. I think basically they had some trouble with people managing to hack accounts and selling cards and things like that, so they got rid of the sell cards feature. When your album is full, as you can see mine is 115 out of 114, what you can do is just put cards kind of in those backup albums. So you can't use them in your produced teams or your live teams, but you will still have them. And if you get dupes in this game, they will automatically stack up to, I believe you can get 5 copies of each card, and then after that, they will convert themselves automatically to producer points. So in that way it's kind of nice because you don't have to worry about running out of space in your album, and you don't have to worry about what to do with duplicate cards. It decides that for you, because you can't actually have dupes of cards on the same producer team, so there really is no reason to have them. So it's kind of nice the game auto decides what to do with that for you. And I think that's basically it. I'm sorry that the Scout wasn't more exciting, but I hope everything in this video has been informative and has kind of given you a general overview of how the game works. As I said, the new event is starting tomorrow, so I probably will do an event video at some point during that event to show you how that works, talk about ranking and things like that. But in the meantime, we're just going to head back out to the main screen, and thank you guys for watching if you made it this far. I hope it wasn't too long and boring. I know I tend to talk a lot when I do these things, because I do want to be thorough. But everything I missed, hopefully I will go over in the next video, and, you know, hopefully it gives some of you an incentive to maybe try out this game. I've been playing it for 3 years at this point, so I am very, very deep into Ensemble Stars hell, and probably not leaving anytime soon. But it is a fun little casual game that's not a rhythm game, so there's not a whole lot of skill involved in it, but there's a lot of nice things to collect, so that's one of the reasons I really like it. And of course, as I said, the story is top tier. And I'm still talking, so I am going to shut up now and bid you all a good day, and I will see you back here with the event videos. Bye for now.